Throughout the vast expanse of Africa, diverse peoples and cultures have shaped the continent's rich history. Today, we journey through the deep historical ties between West Africa and the southern African countries of Namibia, Botswana, and South Africa. From ancient trade routes to migrations and cultural exchanges, these regions, though geographically distant, share intricate connections that span centuries. To understand the relationship between West Africa and Southern Africa, we need to look far back to the early trade routes and migrations that connected these regions. Transcontinental trade, through networks like the trans-Saharan trade and Indian Ocean routes, allowed goods, ideas, and even people to move across Africa. As far back as 2,000 years ago, West Africa was a vibrant hub of economic activity. Goods like gold, salt, and ivory flowed from this region, and in exchange, textiles, horses, and even knowledge moved across borders. Though these routes focused on linking West Africa with the Arab world and Europe, there were indirect connections to Southern Africa, fostering a subtle but significant exchange of culture and ideas. But perhaps one of the most significant movements that connected these regions is the Great Bantu migrations. Originating in the Cameroon-Nigeria region, Bantu-speaking peoples spread southward over millennia, carrying their languages, traditions, and technologies with them. These migrations linked West Africa to Central, Eastern, and Southern Africa, including today's Namibia, Botswana, and South Africa. As the Bantu moved, they interacted with other cultures and shaped the social and cultural landscape of the continent. Their influence can still be seen in the languages spoken and cultural practices across Africa today. In the 19th and 20th centuries, European colonization reshaped the political and social fabric of both West and Southern Africa. Colonizers from Britain, Germany, and Portugal carved up African territories, imposing artificial boundaries and exploiting resources. While these regions experienced colonization in different ways, the impact was felt similarly. Indigenous peoples were displaced, natural resources were exploited, and economies were forced to serve European interests. Colonial rule left behind a legacy of struggle, with lasting effects on socio-economic structures that both West and Southern Africa continue to grapple with today. Despite colonial boundaries and geographical distance, the cultures of West Africa and Southern Africa share fascinating parallels. One area where these connections are evident is in art, music, and religion. From the complex rhythms of drumming to the use of traditional instruments like the kora and mbira, both regions have contributed to Africa's vast musical landscape. Religion has also played a pivotal role in shaping these regions. Islam, which spread through trade routes into West Africa, and Christianity, brought by European missionaries, have left indelible marks on both regions. Today, these faiths coexist alongside indigenous religious practices, contributing to a diverse spiritual landscape. Fast forward to today, and the relationship between West Africa and Southern Africa continues to evolve. Through organizations like the African Union (AU), the Economic Community of West African States (ECOWAS), and the Southern African Development Community (SADC), countries in both regions are working towards mutual prosperity. Trade, infrastructure development, and cultural exchanges have deepened ties between these regions, reminding us that despite historical and geographical divides, Africa's nations are working together for a shared future. Now, let's turn our attention to the Ejagham people, an ethnic group that resides primarily in the Cross River region of Nigeria and Cameroon. Their story provides insight into the broader movement of peoples across Africa, including the Bantu migrations. The Ejagham are believed to be part of the larger wave of Bantu-speaking peoples that spread across Central and Southern Africa. Though they settled in the Cross River Basin, their influence extended far and wide, impacting neighboring groups like the Efik, Ibibio, and Ikoi. The Ejagham people have a rich cultural heritage, known for their artistic traditions and religious practices. One of their most famous customs is the Ekpe or Ningbe masked performances. These ceremonies are not only a form of entertainment, but serve as a means of communication with ancestral spirits, playing a central role in Ejagham spiritual life. Like many African communities, the Ejagham have preserved their traditional beliefs centered around ancestor veneration. They continue to pass down these customs through rituals, ceremonies, and communal gatherings, ensuring their cultural identity remains strong. In the modern era, the Ejagham people, like many indigenous communities, face challenges. Environmental degradation, economic marginalization, and rapid urbanization threaten traditional ways of life. However, there are also opportunities for revival. Community-based initiatives are working to preserve the Ejagham culture and promote sustainable development. By advocating for indigenous rights and fostering interethnic dialogue, Ejagham communities are charting a path forward while staying connected to their roots. The relationship between West Africa and Southern Africa, from the Bantu migrations to colonial encounters and modern-day cooperation, is a testament to Africa's interconnectedness. By exploring these connections, we gain a deeper understanding of the continent's rich cultural tapestry and the resilience of its people. The Ejagham people's story reminds us that Africa's history is not just about division, but about connection, adaptation, and survival. As Africa moves forward, its past continues to shape its future.